that's what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear respected viewers, welcome at Ask Huda. Your host for today is Muhammad Saeed. We have our guest, Sheikh Muhammad Salah. Welcome, Sheikh Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
May Allah bless you and shower His mercy upon you and upon all
the
of
viewers.
Jazakumullah khairan.
Wa jazakum.
We remind our viewers to call us at 202-3855-248 or 249. You can also send us emails at ask@huda.tv. Sheikh Muhammad, inshallah, we have some questions, pending questions from the last episode. The first question that we have is from Amina from United Arab Emirates. She is asking about her husband, and he provides her with all the provisions and all the belongings. But at the same time, sometimes she asks for some extra needs, and she said that they are still in his capacity. Is it permissible for her to ask for those things?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأولين والآخرين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Praise be to Allah, we praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leads astray, no one can show him guidance. May the best peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Apparently you were speaking here about the husband rights versus the wife rights. These are mutual rights, as we always address them whenever we talk about one of them. So it's not sufficient to tackle one, the rights of one, and neglect the others. But simply the question is regarding how far and how much the husband should provide for the wife. There is a very interesting hadith that's narrated by Hakeem ibn Muawiyah al-Qushayriya, may Allah be pleased with him, and his father. He narrated that once his father, Muawiyah al-Qushayri, asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam about the rights of the wife upon her husband. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam answered by saying, أن تطعمها إذا طعمت وأن تكسوها إذا اكتسيت. Which means to feed her whenever you eat. That simply means to feed her from the same kind of food that you yourself enjoy eating. So those who dine outside and they bring the leftover, or ask the wife at home to cook very moderately and to be very tight, that's wrong. It's against the traditions of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and what he advised is to feed her from the nature of the same kind of food that you yourself eat or enjoy eating. وَأَن تَكْسُوهَا إِذَا اكْتَسَيْتَ. So whenever you buy clothes for yourself, you buy for her as well. This is also not necessarily that every time you buy a pair of pants or shorts or thawb or socks that you have to buy the same to her, but meaning if you have 2 outfits once a year, then similarly 2 outfits for her. If you increase, that you increase for her. I mean, you treat her as you treat yourself, as you like to treat yourself. That's why Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, and his father, Tarjuman al-Quran, said, إني لأحب أو إني لأتزين لزوجتي كما أحب أن تتزين لي. I adorn myself for my wife exactly as I like her to prepare herself and adorn herself for me. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. These are mutual rights. For them there are similar rights which are similar to that which are due upon them towards the husbands. And that's why Jabir ibn Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated in the lengthy hadith of the farewell speech, the farewell hajj of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he enjoined upon us to be kind and gentle to our women and our wives. He said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَلَهُنَّ عَلَيْكُمْ وَلَهُنَّ عَلَيْكُمْ رِزْقُهُنَّ وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. This is the key here. That is the answer for question. How much should be the spending? How much food? How much clothes? How much? And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, And it is due upon you, the men. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةً. This level, extra level, which was granted for men in the Quran, the level of spending, of providing, of being financially responsible for the entire household, including the wife, of course. So he said, it is due upon you to provide for them food and clothes. بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. That is the key. Ma'ruf on reasonable basis. If somebody who has a job that he's earning is, as we say, hand to mouth, then we cannot ask him to provide beyond his capacity. But if somebody is a multimillionaire and he's very rich, and every day he's changing his outfit, so he should treat his wife and his children likewise. I don't want anyone to think that whatever you spend at home is in waste or in vain. No, it is totally the opposite. As a matter of fact, Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Dinarun anfaqtahu fi sabilillah." Count with me, Dr. Said. Dinarun anfaqtahu fi sabilillah. He was talking about different categories of spending. $1, €1, any currency that you spend for the sake of Allah. For the sake of Allah mainly refers to providing for the army on the battlefield, which is the greatest cause ever. So this is one spending. And the second, دِينَارٌ أَنْفَقْتَهُ فِي رَقَبَةٍ, or some money that you spend to help to free a slave neck, to free the slaves. وَدِينَارٌ أَنْفَقْتَهُ عَلَى مِسْكِينٍ. And the third spending, which you give in a charity to a poor person and a needy man. And the fourth kind is وَدِينَارٌ أَنْفَقْتَهُ عَلَى أَهْلِكَ. أهلك, your family members. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was comparing between different kinds of spending. Fi sabilillah, freeing the slave neck, given to the masakin, or providing for your family members, your wife and kids. Guess what? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam remarked saying, أعظمها, the greatest ever with regards to reward, the one which you spend on your family members.
MashaAllah. So, Sheikh Muhammad, you advise the sister, inshallah, when she is asking to spend moderately, inshallah. To when she is actually asking her husband for anything, to ask moderately, and at the same time the husband.
The answer is in the word بالمعروف. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala في Surah Al-Talaq says لينفق ذو ساعة من ساعته. If somebody is wealthy, let them spend generously. But ومن قدر عليه رزقه, one whose provision is tightened and restricted, then فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ, then let him spend accordingly, according to his earning. لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا مَا آتَاهَا. Allah does not ask anybody to do beyond their capacity, beyond that what He equipped them with. So I advise the wife, number one, to look at the condition of her husband. I think we have some phone calls. We'll take them then, inshallah, we'll resume.
Yes, for sure, we have some phone calls. The first phone call is from Sir Faraz. He is from US, from Texas. Assalamu alaikum, brother Sir Faraz.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh Salah, this is brother Sir Faraz. I have a question for you regarding the witr prayer. If I have a niyyah to perform my witr after tahajjud and I miss my tahajjud, what should I do with my witr? Should I pray before I perform my fajr prayer, or can I perform after the fajr?
Okay, Jazakallah khairan.
Explain.
Sure. Jazakumullah khairan, brother. We have another phone call from Sister Wafa from Egypt. Sister Wafa, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Sheikh, for all the advices and the answers. Please, Sheikh, I heard someone say that the weak hadith can be relied upon it as long as it doesn't relate to the belief, doesn't relate to the act of worship. But in what relates to the seerah, to the maghazi, we can take it because there is no act will be relied upon it. If this speech is correct or wrong, and if it is correct, why do we always find someone say this or says that incident has no basis or there is no authentic narration about this incident? This is my question. Jazakumullahu khair.
Wa jazakum, sister. So, Sheikh Muhammad, the first question of Brother Faraz from US, he is asking about the witr and the tahajjud, whether he is supposedly to pray the witr even before completing his tahajjud or not.
Before answering this question, it is very important to note that the vast majority of the Muslim jurors consider Salatul Watr as nafl, not mandatory. So it is not mandatory, rather it is voluntary. With the exception of Imam Abu Hanifa, of course, may Allah have mercy on him, who considers Salatul Watr wajib. It's a must. So that means if you miss Salatul Watr, that means you have to make it up, even in the morning. This is as far as the classification of the Watr prayer, whether it is mandatory or mere sunnah or voluntary. And I will explain, inshallah, after I answer the question, why should it be voluntary, not mandatory. Now, An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to Abi Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, and in another narration, Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to him that, don't you sleep before making Salatul Watr. Abu Hurairah narrated that the Prophet ﷺ awsani khalili bi-thalath. My best companion, my intimate friend, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ enjoined upon me 3 things. One of them is to pray the Watr before I go to sleep. This is not, generally speaking, that you have to pray Watr before you sleep. No, because there is something called Salatul Tahajjud, or the night prayer. So I may go to sleep, then I get up. The best time of offering Salatul Tahajjud is the last third of the night, of course. Its beginning could be right after offering Salatul Isha, but the best time is the last 1/3 of the night, which is Waqtul Sahar. So, if somebody plans to get up to pray Tahajjud, then conclude the Tahajjud with the Watr prayer. As the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, pray 2 by 2, 2 by 2, but if you fear the dawn, that it might appear, then awtir bi wahida. Pray just one rak'ah.
Sheikh Muhammad, I'm sorry if I interrupt you for just a second here. We have another phone call from Brother Adam from Egypt. Brother Adam with us?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah.
How are you, Sheikh?
Ahlan wa sahlan. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum as-salam. Can you say your name, sister? I'm sorry, I think there is some misconfusion here. Go ahead, sister. Assalamu alaikum.
There's a brother.
Adam.
Okay, this Brother Adam, okay?
My grandfather has died.
May Allah have mercy on him.
And my grandmother, she doesn't know what can she do. What's her rulings? Can she go to her home? Can she go to her home in the summer in Skindere?
Okay.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Adam. Okay, Sheikh Muhammad.
So now back to Al-Watr. What if somebody plans to get up to pray Tahajjud, then he oversleeps? The ruling of Salatul Watr is a very important issue, is a concern. If you get up after the dawn, after Adhan al-Fajr, then you should halt. Then you may pray Salatul Watr in the morning, and also the night prayer which you plan to pray and you did not make it, you may make it up during the day. But instead of concluding this nafl with watr, you will pray the watr as even, not odd. It will be 2 rak'ahs instead of 1. Because any prayer during the day should be even. But the night prayer should be concluded by 1 rak'ah. Or 3 if you consider the watr as 3 altogether. There is a very interesting fact concerning those who have a habit and a tradition of praying at night and concluding their prayer with watr. Then they go to sleep, they set up their alarm, but something goes wrong. They oversleep. The alarm doesn't go off. For them, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that they should get the same reward of praying while they are still asleep. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the sound hadith, which is narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, وَإِذَا هَمَّ أَحَدُكُمْ بِحَسَنَةٍ فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا كُتِبَتْ لَهُ حَسَنَةٌ كَامِلَةٌ. And if one intends and plans to do a good deed, and he could not do due to an external factor, then still this intention, even though he did not execute it, he did not carry it out, it will be recorded for him and written as a complete good deed. This is as far as Salatul Watr and how to make it up if you skip it until the Fajr is already there.
Jazakumullah khairan, Shaykh. We have another phone call from Brother Abdul Rahman from Kingdom Saudi Arabia. Brother Abdul Rahman, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have 2 questions. Number 1 is, if I did not attend the sermon of Friday prayers, the khutbah, and I join the prayer. Is my prayer is valid, or I have to be there before the khutbah starts?
Okay.
And the second question, Sheikh, Arafat Day here and throughout the world, like in India, it comes after 2 days according to the moon sighting. So we have to make fast on the same day here as in Saudi Arabia they make on day of Arafat on 9th, or we can make after 2 days like in India they are making.
Brother Abdul Rahman, you said Arafat appears 2 days
after 2 days.
In India.
Yeah.
And you also said that due to the moon citation?
Yeah. So there is a difference between Saudi Arabia and in India. The moon will be after 2 days on 9th Dhul-Hajj.
Okay, we'll explain that inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum. We have another phone call from Brother Yusuf from Yemen. Brother Yusuf, assalamu alaikum. Brother Yusuf, assalamu alaikum. I think it is cut off. So we go back to the question of Sister Wafa from Egypt. She was asking about the possibility of relying on weak ahadith. Number one, on acts of worship. And number two, whether it is possible to rely on them on narrating stories about the biography of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and other topics.
No. Basically, by the grace of Allah, recently you've been working effectively on explaining to the viewers that the difference between a sound hadith and a weak hadith, and you would only hear us most of the time saying this is a sound hadith or narrated by this or that and so on, to educate the community and the Muslim community at large that it is very necessary to initiate a ruling or to prove a condition that you have to rely on a sound reference. And it is not very difficult to find a sound reference. What if there is no sound reference? Then there is no ruling. Simple as that. Those who say that it's okay to rely on weak narrations concerning as-sirah wal-maghazi, I disagree. Because as-sirah and al-maghazi, sirah means the biography of the life of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his companions as well, and his battles and so on, are also form of legislations. When we know that the Prophet ﷺ approved the actions of some of his companions, when he said that whosoever believes in Allah and in the last day, let him not pray Asr, but in Bani Qurayza, for instance. So some people did it, and some people said, no, we're afraid that it will be over before we go there, so they still prayed. If this reference was not sound, the whole ruling will be void. We'll never be able to conclude such ruling. So when it comes to Siyar, Maghazi, the biography of the Prophet ﷺ, his lifestyle, we have to have a reference. I remember once somebody objected to the speaker in Mecca while he was giving the khutbah, and he had to take a drink of water. And he was standing. Somebody popped up and said, you should be the first to practice the sunnah. It is prohibited to drink while standing.
Subhanallah.
Here comes Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, who's doing the same, and somebody objected. But Ali ibn Abi Talib said, this is how I've seen the Prophet ﷺ drinking. So that means he have seen him and he had witnessed him drinking. If we don't have a sound reference, we would say, okay, the Prophet ﷺ said you should drink while sitting down, and that's it. But the two references together informed us that it is best to drink while sitting down. And it is disliked. But the Prophet ﷺ himself drank while standing to make it easy for us, not to make it very extreme, because not everyone can afford to drink while standing. So we have what's best and what's okay. So if we don't have a sound reference in the seerah, then everybody would come up with a narration, and accordingly, like, there was actually a qiyas at one time due to a narration, which is judged as very weak. The narration of Ayman drinking, whatever. So say, hey, this is a very weak narration. We cannot state a ruling according to a weak narration.
Okay. Jazakumullah khairan, Shaykh. We go back also to the question raised by Brother Abdul Rahman from Saudi Arabia. He is talking about if he misses a part of the sermon, the khutbah, the speech of Friday, is still his prayer valid or not?
Okay. Number one, why do you miss even the beginning of the sermon of Friday khutbah. Don't we know that Allah the Almighty said in the Quran, here we're not talking about a sound hadith or a weak hadith or a fair hadith, we're talking about a verse from the Quran, where Allah the Almighty calls upon the believers, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. So all the believers should listen attentively. And of course the call here is directed to the men. إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. This is a command from Allah the Almighty that on Friday, whenever there is a call for Friday prayer, you should hurry, not hurry in walking or race, no. You should make an effort to leave as early as possible. That's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam explained that in some ahadith, that the earlier you go, the greater is the reward. One who goes the first hour is like one who's offering a camel, then a sheep, then a chicken, then like an egg. Why? Because there are angels, the writers of the good deeds are standing, opening their records by the door of the masjid, of every masjid, whether is it the prophetic masjid or the sacred mosque in Mecca or your local masjid where the imam is giving the khutbah. They open the records, writing down the names of those who come, the earliest, then the early, then those who come right on time, until the imam climbs the minbar and says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. At that, the angels, the writers, the recorders would fold the records and would step in the masjid to listen to the khutbah. So the angels are very anxiously waiting to listen to the sermon, and you're asleep or you are busy with your work. And that's why the vast majority of the fuqaha have agreed that any business transaction during khutbatul Jumu'ah is haram, as invalid as well. And there will be consequences according to that. This is as far as those who go deliberately late. But of course, one can suffer of sleep, of sickness, of any reason that's out of his control. And that's why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the sound hadith, which is collected by Imam Bukhari, مَنْ نَامَ عَنْ صَلَاةٍ أَوْ نَسِيَهَا. Sometimes you oversleep, sometimes you forget. Not just khutbatul Jummah, it could be a whole salah, until the salah of the next time has already approached. فَلْيُصَلِّهَا مَتَى ذَكَرَهَا لَا كَفَّارَةَ لَهَا إِلَّا ذَلك.
If it is for a valid reason, you mean?
If it is,
okay.
A valid reason is because the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in another hadith, which is a great reference, رُفِعَ الْقَلَمْ عَنْ ثَلَث. The qalam which records, the pen which records our deeds, good and bad, is been lifted. Does not record, stops, it's pausing from recording the actions of three categories of people. One, the infants and the immature people until they reach the puberty age. Everyone under the puberty age, their deeds are not recorded. Then, وَالنَّائِمْ حَتَّى يَسْتَيْقِظ, and one who's asleep until he wakes up, because he's not in control. And وَالْمَجْنُونَ حَتَّى يَفِيقْ, and the one who's insane until he comes back to his mind.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan, Shaykh. We have another phone call from Brother Khurshid from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Khurshid.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my question may be silly for you, but this is a question which I am 100% sure millions of Muslims wants to know. I have performed Umrah just now last week.
Then it won't be silly.
No. The thing I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Why? Because, I have performed Hajj in 1994. And Alhamdulillah, I have gone and I have performed Umrah with my family. One thing was coming in my mind, that why a man is having two towels and we are not allowed for stretch clothes.
Okay.
Definitely there is a reason, there is a great logic of that. And why a woman is in normal dress with hijab.
Okay. So you are asking about the wisdom of having two towels for
two towels.
The izar and the rida.
Exactly. And the second question, Ya Sheikh, my son is having, for example, a salary of 6,000 dirhams. Right?
Your son is having?
For example, 6,000 dirham salary.
Okay.
And he wants to give a zakat in the month of Ramadan.
Sure.
So definitely after 1 year, it will become 72,000.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to give the zakat on 72,000, or how he has to calculate? Because this question is from him.
We'll make sure we'll give precedence to the answer of this question in this episode, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Jazakumullah khairan. We have another phone call from Brother Maqsood from Saudi Arabia. Brother Maqsood, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You can go ahead and
I had asked my 2 questions 3 weeks before. I missed the answer because I couldn't see your show. Maybe I'm a doctor and maybe I was not here to see the show. And I will again repeat my questions. My first question was, I have a sister who is marriage age, and I am also marriage age. So can I delay my marriage so that I marry after my sister's marriage?
Dr. Maqsood, the answer of this question was a very lengthy answer, as a matter of fact. But inshallah, we'll try to summarize it again.
Inshallah. We remind our viewers, inshallah, to call us at 202-3855-248 or 249. You can also send us emails at ask@huda.tv. Sheikh Muhammad, the question now is Umrah. What is the wisdom of Islam behind having, or a man having 2 towels in ihram clothes?
I begin by saying, brother, this is not a silly question. As a matter of fact, before approaching this sacred journey, one has to think, one has to wonder. Islam is a great invitation to use your talents, to use your faculties, to wander around. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. You have to think, why is that? So this is definitely not a silly question. Once, the first time we put the ihram clothes on for men, the izar and the rida, just simply the 2 towels. And one was shy off to take off even the underclothes. But guess what? If you keep any piece under the izar and the rida, your ihram is invalid. You are in violation.
Right. No.
You know, and there would be a penalty if you do that deliberately. That puts you back into the sense of the same day you were born. Powerless, weak, innocent, in need, dependent. And it takes you all the way to the very near future, which is one of us is departing this life, which we do every day. What happens? We strip them off from their clothes. Everything that's valuable or invaluable. Their Rolex watch, their clothes, their smoking, their suits, their Italian fine fabric, everything. And we wrap them in what is similar to the ihram clothes. There is no underclothes, there is no shirts, there is no ties, there is no shoes, there is nothing of that. So the ihram outfit for men is similar to the coffin. And this is a moment where, if you link all the incidents together, this is a journey which Allah the Almighty promised you. That if you perform this journey properly, and you avoid الرفث والفسوق والجدال فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج, you shall return back as the same day you were born. So you are a newborn. You deserve to be in this outfit. It reminds you this life is nothing. This life is insignificant. And you're not going to take anything with you out of this life but this coffin. As far as why only men would dress like that and not women, this is very obvious. Because there is an indigenous desire towards looking at the awra of a woman. That's why we say to women who are normally wearing the niqab, covering their face, your mother, our mother, the mother of all the believers, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, narrated that they uncover their faces due to the set of ihram. So uncovering their faces, that's similar to you're taking off all your clothes. You see? Now women not only uncovering their faces, they're not covering anything at all. Except very little. Totally the opposite. But in ihram, the ihram of a woman is in her hands and the face, which indicates that outside the ihram they should be normally covered. If the Prophet ﷺ stated that the ihram of a woman should be by uncovering her face and hands, keeping them bare and uncovered, that automatically indicates that outside the ihram, in regular cases, they should be ordinarily covered. Okay. But al-Mu'mineen Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha ardaha informed us that so long as they were all women together, they would keep their faces uncovered. But if they pass by a caravan of men, or men passing by, or during tawaf, one of them would lower her isdal. Lower her isdal. Because even the face is a source of temptation, even in this very sacred place. So that's why women should be completely covered in every condition. But in ihram, if she's around women only, she uncovers the face and the hands. But as al-Mu'mineen indicated, if you happen to pass by men, it is permissible for you to lower your isdal over your face.
Jazakumullahu khairan, Sheikh. And brothers, also we have a phone call from Sister Asiya from Saudi Arabia. Sister Asiya, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have 3 questions. If someone dies in a family, what the other family member should do?
No.
Number 2, what are the rules of condolence? Number 3, in some Asian countries, people read Quran and send their reward to descendants. Is this allowed? Jazakallah khair. Pray for me and my family.
May Allah bless you and shower His mercy upon you and all of our viewers. Jazakumullah khairan. We have also another phone call from Sister Muna from Egypt. Sister Muna, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. I have more than one question concerning the salah. One of them, the first one of them, is that when we offer the salah al-maktuba and then we offer another nafil, I have read a hadith in Sahih in Riyadh al-Salihin, and I'm not sure if I understood it correctly or not, that we have to differentiate between both salah either by speaking or changing places. So I want to confirm if this is correct or not.
Okay, Jazakumullah. The second question?
And the second question, what terms do we have to do the salat, sajdat al-sahw? Is it before finishing the salah or after? I think that I once heard that in some conditions we have to offer this sajda before finishing the salah, and in others after finishing the salah. And does this apply also in the nafl salah, or we have to repeat it again if we are not sure that we have done it correctly?
So your second question is about the sujood, or if there is a forgetfulness in the prayer or something.
Yes.
Jazakumullahu khairan.
Thank you very much.
Okay, inshallah we'll have a break for a short break right now, inshallah, and we'll be back very soon. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Closing the gap.
Why closing the gap?
In this program, Sheikh Yusuf Estes and Omar Dunlap are going to discuss how to bridge the gap between peoples of different cultures and orientations, the gap between males and females, Muslims and non-Muslims, the East and the West.
Human beings feel like that they're being slighted one way or the other. The gap between the youth and the elders, the gap between various status in the work field and education, and then trying to provide solutions for these particular problems.
All of this and more in Closing the Gap, soon in Ramadan on Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ask Huda. My brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome also Sheikh Muhammad, our guest for today, and your host is Muhammad Saeed. We have a call from Sister Amina from Saudi Arabia, but before receiving this phone call, I remind you of the calling us at 202-3855-248 or 249. You can also send us your emails at ask@huda.tv. Sister Amina from Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Amina.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Go ahead.
Can I ask the Sheikh one question?
Go ahead, inshallah.
Sheikh, my parents took a loan from Samba, the Saudi American bank. They didn't know it's riba. So after some time, they got to know through Huda it's riba. So now nearly all the money has been utilized. Only a bit is left. So what shall we do?
Okay, do you receive any interest of the money that you put in the bank, or is it just...
No, it's like if it's a certain amount, they just tell us every month that how much it has been used and how much is left. That's the tell.
Okay, so it is like a checking account, right?
Yes.
Okay, the second question.
No, only one question.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan, thank you. Also, we have another phone call from Sister Aisha from Bahrain. Sister Aisha, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, go ahead, sisters.
My first question is that I want to know that there are how many ways to slaughter an animal in Islam?
Okay, the way of slaughtering an animal in Islam.
And my second question is that are we allowed to eat meat other than pork from people of both like Christians and Jews without knowing whether it is halal or not? Because if you are traveling to an European country, I've heard from some people that it is okay to eat the meat which is provided by Christians or Jews, and there is no need to confirm this, that whether they have slaughtered it in an Islamic way or not. Can you please clarify this?
Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Aisha. Sheikh Muhammad, you talked about that you are going to prove that Salatul Witr or the odd prayer is voluntary and it's not obligatory.
No.
Okay.
First of all, we discussed way back the sound hadith of the man, the Bedouin, who came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, inform me about Islam. What do I have to do? What do I owe to Allah the Almighty? So Al-Nabi ﷺ said, 5 daily prayers. إِلَّا أَن تَصَدَّقْ. All what you have to do as far as the prayers, just 5 daily prayers. Unless if you want to give extra. So every faridah, every mandatory worship, the Prophet ﷺ spoke about it. He described only the wajib part. Concerning as-salah, he only addressed the 5 daily prayers. So the man said, I swear by the one who sent you with the truth, I shall not increase to that. I shall not do anything extra. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam commented on this statement as the man was leaving by saying, أَفْلَحَ إِن صَدَقْ. Successful indeed if he can just fulfill what he said. So this is a reference that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam described the mandatory part of the salah as the 5 daily prayers. Even the commended, the confirmed nawafil, which we repeatedly advise the viewers and ourselves with, the 12 rakahs of every day and night, the 2 rakahs before Fajr, the 4 before Dhuhr, 2 by 2, and the 2 after Dhuhr, then 2 after Maghrib, and 2 after Isha. We've got 12 rakahs. The Prophet ﷺ said in Hadith Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, whosoever observes them regularly, Allah will build a house for him in paradise. But this is still optional. Right? As far as Salatul Witr, there is a very interesting reference that indicates Salatul Witr is voluntary,
okay,
not mandatory, which is Al-Imam al-Bukhari in his sound collection, may Allah have mercy on him, informed us that the Prophet ﷺ used to pray on the back of his camel while traveling until whenever it is the fard time, al-maktuba, the ordained, one of the 5 daily prayers, he would descend, disembark, then face the qibla and pray the fard. So this hadith is used indirectly to prove, number 1, that Salatul Wajib or al-Maktuba, the 5 daily prayers, are very distinct from the Nafl in various ways. One of them is that al-Maktuba, you must offer it while standing and facing the Qibla. While al-Nafl, if you are traveling, you may pray the prayer while you are sitting down. while you are in the train, on the bus, in your vehicle. Not only that, the Qibla does not necessarily have to be facing east or facing the Kaaba. Rather, your Qibla or your direction will be the same direction of your ride, whether is it the plane. So if you're traveling from Pakistan, from Lahore to New York, and you have plenty of time, you want to pray nafl, you may pray it on your seat. But you don't know which direction is the Qibla. You don't have to. Your direction will be the same direction. So now the Qibla will be the same direction of the flight. But whenever it is the fard prayer, the mandatory one, then you have to ask the superintendent or the captain, or ask somebody who's in charge about the direction of the Qibla on the map. That's easily determined. Then you can step back the rear of the plane and you stand up and you offer the fard, if it is possible and if it is not causing any trouble. Or otherwise, you still to pray on time, you may pray in your seat. But in case that you're not capable, period, to pray while standing.
Jazakumullah khairan. I need actually to go back to you about this point, because even we have some phone calls, but also the Prophet ﷺ for the witr prayer, he did not actually miss it, even if during travel or anything.
Correct.
Else. Yes.
That's why we judge it as confirmed sunnah.
Confirmed sunnah.
Sunnatun mu'akkada.
Jazakumullah khairan. We have some other phone calls. The first phone call is from Brother Yusuf from Kuwait. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Yusuf.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, go ahead and
I thank you all the contributors of Huda TV for giving this guidance, and personally I've got so much guidance from Huda TV.
Jazakumullah khairan. Allah bless you.
And from Sheikh Salah also. And I don't keep my guidance with me only, like I used to tell it to other people also, where I used to tell them about the Huda TV also. Sheikh, I've got two questions here. The first question is, actually till my 12th age, I was actually born and brought up in a Christian majority area, actually, location, where I used to go to church and lit up candles, to join with my sisters, and we used to go to church and lit candles, and we used to pray till my 12th age. After that, I came to one more place in India, and after that I started praying, and alhamdulillah, I'm praying, fasting, doing all the mandatory and obligatory prayers.
Congratulations.
So, pardon me, Sheikh?
Congratulations, may Allah accept.
Thank you, Sheikh. I just want to confirm, whether is this considered as a shirk? If so, what I have to do for that, Dr. Sheikh? And the second question is, recently I was just hearing this Lives of Prophets by Sheikh Anwar al-Awlaki, where it is, he was just saying, Sayyidina Musa was following Al-Qadar in search of knowledge, actually. So Al-Qadar, on that scenario, he was just killing a small kid, and the reason given was that kid is in the future he'll kill everyone, and he'll not, he's a disbeliever, actually. So as a believer, as a Muslim, I know that there should be there will be a strong support will be there, but any non-believer, he will, the first time he is caring, he will think how such a cruelty is happening in Islam. Can you just shed some light on this, Sheikh, please? Thanks.
Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Yusuf. We have also another phone call from Sister Nadia from Kuwait, from Arab Emirates. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh and brother.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go ahead, sister.
I have two questions. The first question is on behalf of my friend who is in Canada. She is 28 weeks pregnant, but a few days back the doctors have told her that the child may not be normal if delivered. The child may require 16 operations in 2 years if he survives. And the doctors have also said that the lifespan may be around 8 to 10 years of that child.
How long she's been pregnant?
It's 28 weeks.
28 weeks?
Almost 6 months. And now, 3 days back, the doctors have told her this problem because many organs of the child are still missing, and there's some problem with the heart, so that child may require 16 operations in 2 months, in 2 years, if he survives. So now the problem is, they want to ask if it's allowed in Islam at this point for abortion. And I would request the Sheikh if you can give the answer today, because tomorrow the board of doctors will be meeting and they will be asking the parents about their decision.
Inshallah.
And also, sister, you may take my phone number from the control. I would like to be on the phone with the council during their meeting.
Okay.
We went through several cases like that. If you allow me, Dr. Saeed, to jump into the answer right away.
Yeah, go ahead, inshallah.
We said if there is malfunction or deformity in the embryo, as long as it is not 4 months and 10 days, then it is permissible. But after breathing the soul into the embryo, this embryo has become a human being, a living human being.
Exactly?
He's now 6 months.
Okay.
He's now 6 months. This is a living human being. So we have no access whatsoever to abortion. And no one would give you an answer of yes or okay, because that would be killing a human being. As far as what happens after, this is a test from Allah the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, we said before, breathing the soul into the embryo or the fetus before it has become a living human being, it's permissible. But now, since it is a growing child, embryo, in the womb of his mother, then we must wait. In many cases, these speculations come totally the opposite, and the child might not need any surgery. And in many cases, it happens that the child would suffer. But after this age, it is not our choice. We have no access for abortion whatsoever. It would be like somebody who waited until she gave birth already, and the baby is deformed. Would any mother kill her baby? Would any wise, reasonable, normal woman or parents kill their child because he is handicapped? Or because he cannot speak, deaf or blind? Absolutely not. They would go with him all the way until he's either cured, treated, or would die. And in this case, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam informed the parents who would have a child and would die, then they would bear patiently, would endure this calamity patiently, that Allah the Almighty will build a house for them in paradise and will call it Bayt al-Hamd.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. We have some other questions pending from the other calls, previous calls. The first one that we promised actually to answer that question for Brother Maqsood from Saudi Arabia, who said that if his son actually received 6,000 dirhams a month as a salary, and he has a total of 72, and that total is increasing per month. So what exactly the sum that is zakatable, or it will be paid as a zakah?
Okay, first of all, brother, we do not really calculate the zakah on the accumulative salary. Rather, we calculate the zakah on the sum of, number one, his positions of investment and saving. So let's say that somebody is earning a month 60,000 dirham, not just 6,000. But by the end of the lunar calendar, this person has none. All what he has of his salary, he spent it here and there. He bought a house, he bought a car, and he helped his brothers and sisters. He got his sister married, and he gave in donations and in charity. He built a masjid. By the end of the lunar calendar, all of his position is just 5,000. That means this person is eligible for the zakah. He doesn't have even the nisab. So basically, once somebody's positions exceed the minimum requirement, which is zakatable, the threshold, then we'll start calculating according to your actual position as of today, the day of paying the zakah. And the day of paying the zakah varies from an individual to another. It actually varies according to when did you actually start collecting or having or possessing the nisab, the minimum requirement which is zakatable. It happened to be in the middle of Sha'ban or in Rajab or whatever. That is the day you start calculating from, and once you reach to the end of the lunar year, that is the day you should pay the zakah on what you already have of savings and investment. The house which you bought, the car which you bought is not included in your positions, because all of that is for your personal use.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. Actually, we have a lot of other questions that needs to be answered, that inshallah, we promise our viewers that inshallah next episode we will put them on the first priority. We thank you. We thank Sheikh Muhammad.
Jazakumullah
Barakallahu
khairan.
fikum.
Thank you so much.
May Allah shower His mercy upon all of you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send His tranquility upon all of our hearts. And Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If my love is attached to thee, then from sins I will be free. Each time my heart will beat, your name will resound with heat. Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.